Hi everybody, it's Heather at CysterWigs, and I wanted to give you another update on the weight loss thingamabob because it's been a little while. Uh, had a wedding thing, you may have heard, and I was under the impression that I probably would have gained weight because the quality of the food that I was eating for like 3 or 4 days there was not real great. Um, but I guess quantity really matters because I actually dropped like 10 pounds. Protein shake. Um, I have no idea how that even happened, but I'm super psyched about it. So, yeah, I'm down 59 pounds from my highest weight. I'm down 37 pounds from the surgery. And I dropped 10 pounds in the past like 3 weeks. So now I'm currently down to 212 as of this morning. So that's pretty cool. I can't wait to get to Wonderland, Wonderland. So I'm looking forward to that because I haven't been under 200 pounds since I was like 19 or so. So that'll be really cool. Yeah, my diet in general has not really changed much. I've been trying to incorporate more solids and that's actually been making my caloric count for the day go down as opposed to up because it's harder for me to. I mean, I guess this is why they tell you not to rely on slider foods, like foods that go down really easily. But it's harder for me to get the calories in and the protein in when I'm eating food because I feel so full so quickly that I just have a really tough time getting it in. So in the mornings, I still try to start the day with a protein shake because then at least I know I'm getting some vitamins, I'm getting some protein, I'm getting something in me because if I start the day with something like eggs or something like that, I get like 3 or 4 bites in and then I'm toast. Um, and I've always kind of had, or at least since adulthood, had some sensitivity issues to wheat. I don't know if it's gluten specifically, but I get like hay fever. It's not like digestive issues. It's more like I get hay fever symptoms and my nose runs and I get hives if I eat too much and that sort of thing. So it's definitely like an allergic reaction sort of thing. And I've noticed that that's been way worse since the surgery. Like it takes nothing at all to sort of make it flare up. So that's brutal because here in the States, it's like everything has wheat in it. And when I was up in Ohio with Nigel, I mean he's here with me now, but he's sleeping. When I was in Ohio getting ready for the wedding and everything, I was forced to go out a lot. Like we were going out to eat a lot. So that's another reason why I was worried that I had gained weight, but in fact I'd lost it because I had such a hard time eating anything at any of these restaurants. Like going out to eat has become kind of an arduous task. It's not fun anymore. And so I go there and I take a few bites and I sit there in discomfort while I watch other people just scarf down everything in sight. And it's just sort of off-putting. It's not really fun at all. And it's not like I'm sitting there judging them, If anything, I'm like, I wish I could eat all that stuff sometimes. But at the same time, I'm very glad that I can't because, I don't want to be sick forever. Uh, I do remember going to a Starbucks with Nigel's best man before the wedding while we were doing like some wedding prep, and he ordered this like gigantic sweet thing. It was like it sounded really good actually. It was like a dirty chai that had the eggnog syrup in it. I like eggnog flavored things, so that sounded good, but then at the same time it sounded so sweet that I literally gagged at the thought of it. Whereas I literally gagged. And pre-surgery, I would have really enjoyed something like that, I'm sure. And just the thought of it made me go like that. And I hope that wasn't offensive when it happened because I couldn't even help it. And of course, I always end up getting the same thing. I get like, sometimes I get caffeinated, sometimes I get decaf, sometimes I get half calf, but it's usually some variation of a skinny mocha. Usually I get soy milk instead because it's got a little bit more protein in it. And it doesn't upset my stomach like, lactose can do sometimes. My sleeve is very persnickety. She's very relentless and annoying sometimes, but I'm still glad I had the surgery. And like I said, down to 212, which is pretty great. I think that the only thing that is still kind of a bummer is the fact that my hair is crazy falling out. It is really bad. Like, look at how weird the texture is right now. Like, it's all hormonal and crazy sauce. And then, like, it's always been really thin up here, but it's gotten substantially thinner since the surgery. Like, we were staying in hotels, and of course they always use white bedding and linens in hotels. And, every morning, it's so obvious to just look at the pillow and see all the hair there, and it's depressing. And it does. It ends up everywhere. It ends up on the floor. It ends up on the counters. It ends up on the sink. It ends up all over my clothing. So we're getting to the point where Nigel and I are discussing him maybe buzzing my head because I'm so sick of watching it fall out. But I knew this was going to happen. It's not really like traumatizing for me anymore, but at the same time, it's not fun either. And as much as I enjoyed the science experiment of watching how much it was going to fall out because of the surgery, I think I've basically proven that point to myself that it's going to fall out, and it's falling out a lot. Oh, and side note, one more thing I wanted to discuss before stopping this update was for my bachelorette party, I decided I didn't want to do, a big hen party or something like that. I'm in my, like, mid-30s, so I don't necessarily want to walk around with, like, a big foam wiener on my head or something like that. So I don't need to be eating, like, penis-shaped pasta or something like that. Like, all that's fun, but, I'm a little too old for that, I think. And, and I thought if I'm going to do something really juvenile, I might as well do something kind of healthy. So my best friend and my mom and me, we all went roller skating because I love roller skating. And it was very low key. We didn't have like a big party because I was already organizing a big party, i.e. the wedding. So I didn't necessarily want to, have to organize an entire bachelorette to do as well. So we, and and you might be like, well, that's what the maid of honor's for. Yeah, she's got 4 small kids. So, I wasn't going to make her do all that either. Because one thing that I tried to be really consistent about with all the preparations was that I didn't want to burden anybody with having to do too much. Anyway, so we went roller skating, and I ended up really dehydrated afterwards because at first it was really fun because I was like, oh my gosh, my leg muscles are still amazing. And I was zipping around the floor. I was going so fast. It was great. It was like, back in the day when I used to speed skate and be a floor guard, it was great. Because less weight, you move faster. And I have a really nice pair of skates, Rydell skates. And I was just like, shoo. It was great. And I had a lot of stamina, and it didn't hurt, and it was fabulous. Problem, though, is that I didn't eat enough before I went, and I definitely was not drinking enough liquid while I was there. So when I was done, I ended up, oh my God, I was so dehydrated. I kept begging people for water, and they kept saying, well, you're drinking water. You're drinking water. No, I was not drinking enough because it felt literally like my whole body had turned to a pillar of salt. Like, I felt so incredibly dehydrated, and it was really, really uncomfortable. So lesson learned, like, I need to drink way, way, way more fluid, like, way more fluid, especially when I'm doing that level of exercise, because I got kind of carried away while I was roller skating, because it was so effortless compared to all the previous times that I'd done it in, like, the last, decade or so, and, Yeah. Oh, and yeah, still breaking out, still hormonal, you know, the acne, it's real. Um, oh, and as I've mentioned in other videos, I know this is a long update, sorry, but it's been a hot minute since I've updated you. Um, the other thing is that I had mentioned in some of the videos I made with Nigel, I think, that I've basically like, and I've mentioned here too, I've had issues with my menstrual cycle since this surgery. Basically, um, like immediately after the surgery, I hadn't had a period in like three months, and then immediately after surgery, it started. And I was like, "Yay, normal!" No, because it just kept going. It kept going, and going and going and going, like the Energizer Bunny. And since September 9th, I had been basically on a nonstop, extremely heavy cycle, except with the exception of like maybe 2 weeks out of that whole time period. So that was really, really, really uncomfortable. And I felt very lethargic towards the end there, and actually ended up going um, to. I was on the road, so I don't have a gynecologist up in Ohio anymore. So I just went to a Planned Parenthood. I mean, shout out to Planned Parenthood. I mean, I know that that's like really, controversial in some circles, but I mean, they usually have openings. I went there and was like, hey, can you put me on some kind of, pop, progesterone only pill? Can you put me on a pop so that way I can get this over with because I'm sick of being on my period constantly. It wasn't even for contraceptive purposes. And that's why I feel like I need to say something about that because I have PCOS and I've been on birth control since I was 12. And I was not sexually active, obviously. Well, I mean, I guess I can't say obviously, but I was not sexually active at 12. I was just, really irregular. And they put me on BCPs so that way I would stop bleeding, kind of like here. And, so lots of people take advantage of those services for health reasons. And so I figured this is a good example. Like, I just needed it to stop because I was becoming kind of anemic and I was really, really lethargic and just had it was bad. Like, I couldn't even control my emotions or anything because my hormones were like, it was terrible. So, and that may actually be another reason why my hair has been falling out so much is because I went on the pop because birth control pills can make your hair fall out too, especially when you first start taking them, and that kind of tapers off after about 3 months. But uh, anyway, that's what I've been up to. So hopefully none of this has been offensive to you guys. And I look forward to updating you again another time. Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.